Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Right. All right. Good morning, guys. And all right, sir. Then there is a question from my online students. So class will start by 9 or 8:30. Just now we had a discussion on it. Right. What do you have to do, sir? So we need to fix the timings perfectly. And majority of the students, 99% of students are attending right from 7 o'clock, 7 to 8:30, then 8:30 to 10 o'clock. This is a schedule actually. Okay. Even in online also be majority of the people are attending both the sessions. So minimum 10 minutes gap is mandatory between the sessions. No. So in the worst case, whatever it may be, then we want to fix the time there. So by 10:45 we have to, sorry, not 10:45, what is it? No, 8:45. 8:45 I'll start the sessions. If any of your new members know, just you're coming for only Spring Framework, don't come by 8:30 sharply, then come at 8:45 max. Okay, then within that 15 minutes of time, our people may complete their breakfast or maybe tea or coffee, whatever it may be. By 8:45 I'll start the session daily. Okay, max. That's the schedule. Correspondingly plan for it. All right. And I think this link is not provided to you, right? Right, sir. This still I did not prepare for that. Now just remind to me. Then at the end of the session, I'll prepare that link to you. Don't worry. Right. So now check this. Then what we understood the content, guys. Now tell me. I think yesterday we started with what is the requirement to go for frameworks. That means I've given a question, somewhat lengthy question I've given there. There's a meaningful, it's a meaningful question. Now try to understand this punch here. To prepare web applications, we have already server-side technologies like servlets and JSPs to prepare web applications, server softwares like Tomcat, WebLogic, Wildfly, and so on to execute web applications, IDEs like Eclipse, IntelliJ IDEA, and so on to develop applications in easiest way, web application design models like MVC design patterns to prepare to provide a template for the applications, real-time tools like Maven, Log4j, and so on for simplifying all the development activities. So these many things are available. Still, what is the requirement to go for frameworks? What is the need of the frameworks? This is a question here we are getting. All right, yesterday I given some answers to you. Now just I want to rewind the answers to you. Now try to understand these answers here. Observe carefully what I'm telling you. Answers will be very simple. Now try to understand these answers now. Observe carefully, guys. In general, in all the enterprise applications are simply web applications. In general, in all the web applications, some components are very much common, and some services are, simply speaking, some generic services. I used to say generic, no specific meaning for it, no, in general terminology. Generic services are very much common. All right, now here we have to understand what things are very much common here. Some components are very much common and some generic services are very much common. Generic services are what they're very much common. All right, sir. Examples I'm telling there. Few examples here I'm telling you. Try to understand this clearly. Point number one. Controller servlet is common in all the MVC based applications. What is common there? No, controller servlet is common. Right. Next one is after that, after completion of this. Services like exception handling, data validations, security, transactions, and so on, very much common from module to module, from module to module in an application, and from application to application. Not only from module to module, from application to application also be, these many things are very much common. Sir, yesterday I given some discussion over these points now. All right, then after that, what next one here, after completion of this, these are the things which are very much common in enterprise applications. The above common elements and common services may take 70% of the development in an application. May take what there may occupy 70% of the development, 70% of the development in an application. If we take 100% of the application development, where 70% is taken by these common elements and generic services only. Got it or not? Fine. Right, sir. In the above context, 70% of the common implementation and the client specific 30% of the client specific 30% of the implementation. In the above context, 70% of the common implementation and the client specific 30% of the 30% of the implementations are provided by the developers explicitly. Then developers are able to get the following problems. Guys, observe carefully. Almost all I'm ready to give the conclusion there, but before that I'm trying to highlight the problem. What problems here we are able to get if we are using the regular approach without using frameworks now. The problems would be like what there. Point number one. What is the problem here? No, development time will be increased. What is the first problem here? Development time will be increased. Next one is what there. Then after that, development cost will be increased. Development cost will be increased. Development cost. When development time is increased, no, automatically development cost will be increased. Next one is needs more manpower. Am I right or not? Needs what there? More manpower. Answer my point. So when application 100% of the application we are preparing in our own way, automatically more manpower is required. That more manpower in the sense more employee is required. When more employee is required, automatically development cost, infrastructure cost will be increased. Answer my point. Next one is what there? Then after that, more manpower. Manpower needs more manpower. That is another one now. Next one is what there? No parallel development. This point I will explain there. When frameworks are available, definitely there we are able to have like what they know some kind of parallel development. It is possible here, but here no parallel development. Instead of saying that no, maybe possibilities are available, less parallel development, maybe less. We can say like what there less. less parallel development. That means low parallel development or less parallel development. Answer my point, Kirnam. All right, sir. Then in a synchronization mode only, the development is going to be happen. Development activities are going to be happen now. Observe carefully. Apart from this, all right, sir. So productivity will be very less. What's the meaning of this productivity? Again, no. Number of times I said to you, less time, more results. Less time, more products. Less time, more product. That is what their productivity. I'm so careful. And so on. So many problems are having. So many problems are coming. All right. All right, sir. Now here, what we have to do there to overcome these problems? What we have to do to overcome the above problems? We need a solution. We need an alternative. We need an alternative solution where the 70% of the we need an alternative solution where the 70% of the common implementation to overcome all the above problems. We need an alternative solution where the 70% of the common implementation must be provided as a predefined or inbuilt predefined or inbuilt support. Got my point or not? So to overcome the above problems, we need an alternative solution where the 70% of the common implementation must be provided as a predefined or an inbuilt support. In this case, developers will focus more on the client specific 30% of the implementation. If 70% of the implementation is available as a predefined one, as a built-in one, then what developers will do? Developers will focus more on the client specific 30% of the implementation. Now tell me what advantages here we are able to get now with this care. Less development time, less development costs, more productivity. Am I right or not? More productivity. We are able to get it here. All right, sir. At the same time, needs less manpower and more parallel development is also be going on here. Understand my point here? So these are the advantages we are able to get if you're having this kind of thing. All right, exactly. In the above situation, some third-party organizations have provided their own products to provide the common 70% of the implementation as a predefined. Here the third party organizations provided products are called what their frameworks. That's it, guys. Now this is what exactly the requirement of what their frameworks. Tell me now, framework is simplifying our application development or not? Frameworks are simplifying our application development or not? All right, sir. So in the above situation, some third-party organizations have provided their own products to provide the common 70% of the implementation as predefined. Here, the third-party organizations provided products are called frameworks. That is called as like what their frameworks. All right, sir. What exactly the advantages we are able to get now with the frameworks? We are able to get the following advantages. What are the advantages? Okay, with the frameworks, we are able to get the following advantages. The very first one. What is this first one, guys? Now tell me. All right, sir. First one is like what there? Lesser development time, lesser development cost. Next one is what there? After that, more productivity. All of you observe carefully. Then after this more productivity, next one is what there? Provides a standard template for application development. application development standard template. Standard template in the sense it will prepare a blueprint for our application development. As a developer, just we have to provide some configurations only. Answer my point, Ken. So number of examples are available for that, but later I'll explain to you. But at present here, what we are able to get now provides a standard template for the application development. That means where to use servlet, where to use JSP base, where to use a business component, how to interact with all of them. Then everything is pre-scripted. Everything is what there pre-scripted. As per that script only, we have to keep the components. Automatically, our application is going to be provided here. Provides a standard template for the application development. Next one, provides a standard flow of execution for the applications. Provides a standard flow of execution to the applications. Every application is having some flow of execution, but these frameworks are defining a standard flow of execution of the applications. That means standard communication between components, which shows a standard flow of execution in the application. Understand my point or not? So almost all the frameworks are on the basis of MVC basically. That MVC is having a standard template, standard flow of execution also. Request must come to the controller. Controller will access like what their model component. After that, controller will come to what their viewport, and viewport has to generate some. This is MVC, but this MVC is implemented by whom there? MVC is implemented by these frameworks now. MVC based frameworks now. So that MVC based frameworks are having their own standard flow of execution in the application. As it is, that framework is following that as it is the flow of execution or with the changes that depends on what there our framework people. So anyway, it should be a standard flow of execution. Next one is provides all common elements like what there controllers, comma, then what next one here, processors, request processors and so on. All right, next one is what there, then after that provides all the generic services like exception handling, already given that, internationalization, security, data validations and so on as predefined. It also we can understand like what there and so on as a predefined and so on. So many advantages are available, right? So then after that, one more point I'm telling there, and few more points are remaining there, important points. All right, so then what next one here? Apart from this, reduces duplicate code, reduces boilerplate code. What's the meaning of this boilerplate code? No, repeated code. Example, in your level example, I'm telling to you, JDBC. If we take JDBC programs, multiple JDBC programs, where only one in a section is varied, but remaining instructions are very much common. Load and register the driver is common. Establish the connection is common. Create statement object is common. Closing the connection and resources is very common. But only the changes on what there execute update or execute query or something else now. What SQL query we are going to execute, is that select SQL query or non-select SQL query, that's a varied. Up to that in a section is also be varied. But remaining in sections are what there same. Am I right or not? Remaining in sections are what there same. So this is exactly called as what there boilerplate code. This is called as like what there boilerplate code. Everybody answer my point now. So it reduces boilerplate code in the applications. Reduces what there boilerplate code. All right, sir. Able to provide environment for parallel development. I'll explain this point here. Don't worry for it in the future. Parallel development. Okay, fine, sir. Now these are the various advantages here we are able to get here. Okay, so many advantages are available, but some of the advantages here I provided for this particular one. That's okay. Now it is completed here. Right. Then after that, these are the various advantages of frameworks what we are having here. Then after that, what next one can now tell me after understanding this? The next one is definitions here we have to understand what exactly the framework. What is the meaning of the framework? Definitions here we have to understand. Right, so 2 to 3 definitions I want to tell to you, but we have to understand the 2 to 3 definitions. The very first definition, understand this. What is the meaning of frameworks? No, understand it. Listen carefully. Definition 1. Framework is a prefabricated software components that programmer can reuse, can share and customize as per their requirement, in order to, or else maybe framework is a prefabricated software components that programmer can reuse, share and customize in order to simplify application development. This is the very first definition for the frameworks. Please read out this statement here, read out this definition here. You can understand some points now. What is the framework, sir? Framework is a prefabricated software components. What is the meaning of prefabricated? No, components are already defined and which are having some connection. Already components are existed which are having what there some connection. Connected components are nothing but what they're prefabricated. Am I right or not? All right, sir. Prefabricated software components that programmer can reuse. Same component programmer can use again and again. Can share. Multiple modules are available. Single component can share with the multiple modules. Customize. They can implement their own view on their what their components to simplify application development. All the things are for the sake of what they're simplifying application development. That is the first definition for what they're a framework. Mr. All of you are getting my point or not? Right, sir. Second definition here I'm telling you, now try to understand this clearly. This we have to understand clearly. Framework is a semi-implemented application. Come on guys, now tell me what is this framework actually? Framework is a semi-implemented application. It can be used to prepare the applications as per the developers convenience. Frameworks are giving some convenience for the developers only, some kind of flexibility for the developers only. So I said to you a number of times, if frameworks are not available, 5 years of time to complete the project. But if frameworks are available, 2 years of time to complete the project. Almost all, more than half of the duration will be reduced. Right, now observe this. Moreover, here what is the point here? Framework is what the semi-implemented application. Can you elaborate this point now? Guess it, why I'm giving that semi-implemented application? Some figures are given there previously. 70% of the implementation is common from one application to another application. Again, you may have doubt, sir, how can you say 70% of the implementation is common now? Already some examples are given. Controller servlet is common. Some generic services are common. Not only that, sir, one simple example I'm telling there. Database operations we are performing now. In every application, every module, database operations we are performing. Am I right or not? Tell me what database operations you can perform there. You are performing there. Max 4 operations. Every application, take any application, take any type of application. The presentation may be varied, viewport may be varied, but in the ground, database operations are only 4. What are the 4 operations? No, CRUD operations. What are the 4 CRUD operations? Can no create, read, update, delete. Insert the data, search the data, update the data, and delete the data. That's it. Got it or not? So these are like what they're common. That's why I said to you from application to application, 70% of the implementation is very much common. All right, sir. So if 70% of the implementation is provided by frameworks, in the sense 70% of the application development is already completed by frameworks. If I got a framework now, automatically 70% of the application is already ready-made with me. Then where we have to focus on only what there 30% of the client specific implementation. Observe carefully. All right, sir. Framework is a semi-implemented application. It can be used to prepare the applications as per the developer's convenience. This is another point here. Definition number 3. All of you observe carefully. Another definition here. Framework is the collection of framework is the collection of tools and APIs. Framework is a collection of tools and APIs. It can be used to prepare the applications in a much simplified manner. Framework is the collection of tools and APIs. It can be used to prepare the applications in a much simplified manner. More simplicity, more and more simplicity. But collection of tools and APIs are available. What are the collection of tools and APIs case? And then what is the support here? What is the meaning of it now? Frameworks are using, say for example, all web frameworks must have Servlets and JSP's APIs, Java API. They must have Java API. Am I right or not? Otherwise, how 70% of the implementation is maintained by the frameworks no? Without having these APIs internally? Am I right or not? Not only that, frameworks are providing some tools internally. Tools implementations are provided internally. Say for example, Spring framework is supporting for what their Maven internally. It's having what their logging internally. So these are like what their tools. The tool support is also be required. Yes, guys. All of you get my point or not? Some configuration details are already included inside the frameworks. One minute. Hello. All right, sir. Some configuration details are already provided to work with what there some other tools. Already some components, some tools are already implemented inside the frameworks now. So that's why framework is the collection of APIs and tools. It can be used to prepare the applications in a much simplified manner. Got it or not? So these are the 3 definitions for what their frameworks. Now think a minute about it now. In general, we used to see some JDBC definitions. What definitions we understood for JDBC there? Now tell me, what are the various definitions for JDBC now? JDBC, that means not JDBC, driver, I'm talking there. Driver. What is the definition here? Driver is an interface existed in between Java application and database. It can be used to prepare JDBC applications, or it can be used to prepare or simplify or maybe prepare database communication in order to perform some database operations. Another definition is what there? JDBC is a step-by-step process to connect with the database from Java application in order to perform database operations from Java. See, like this you can say 100 definitions now. But final target for all the JDBC definition, for all the drivers, definition is what there? Just to simplify, just to connect with the database from Java application in order to perform database operations from Java application. That's the final target. Even though you are having 100 definitions per driver, final thing is what they're connecting with the database to perform database operations from Java application. Similarly, what is the final target of the frameworks now? Even if we give 100 definitions for frameworks now, in all the 100 definitions, the final target is what there? simplify the application development. Simplify what their application development. That is that example. That's a point about like what their frameworks. That's okay, guys. Now they are the definitions for frameworks here. What we are having. That's it. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Right. Right. That's okay. Fine. So these are the definitions for what their frameworks. That what we understood clearly. Then after that, after completion of this, how many types of frameworks are available in outside? How many types of frameworks are available in outside? There are two types of frameworks. There are two types of frameworks. What are the two types of frameworks now? Web applications, web application framework, web frameworks. In other words, like what there? Web framework, web frameworks, and the second one is what there? Application framework. Web frameworks, and the second one is like what there? Application framework. Then this is one of the interview question in outside. What is the difference between web frameworks? What is the difference between web frameworks and application frameworks? This is a question, guys. Now we have to understand clearly what is this web framework and what is this application framework. But before that, I'm asking one question to you. Previously in a servlets, you have the discussion like what there? Web server and application server. Two servers are available. Web server and application server. Can you tell me what exactly the difference between these two servers now? What is web server? What is this application server? Any idea? Already we have the discussion maybe in the last 2 days of time. Web servers are able to provide environment for only web applications execution. Web servers are able to provide environment for only what their web applications execution. Whereas application servers are providing environment to execute both the types of applications like web applications and as well as what their distributed applications. Am I right or not? Now here the point is like what they're similarly web frameworks are strictly applicable for what their only web applications development. Web frameworks are used for only what their web applications development. But whereas application frameworks are utilized to prepare any type of application, like what their standalone applications, web applications, distributed applications, database related applications, and so on and so on and so on. So all of you get my point or not? So right now try to understand the point clearly. Web frameworks are able to provide very good environment to prepare and execute only web applications. Web frameworks are able to provide a very good environment to prepare and execute only web applications. Tell me any example for these web frameworks. No, number of examples are available. Struts, both 1.x version and 2.x version, both are like what their web framework. JSF is also be like what their web framework. Answer my point here. Struts, JSF. Next one is what their Xwork2 is also be another framework is available in outside, no, but outdated only. Xwork2 is also another framework like this. So many. Next one is application frameworks application frameworks are able to provide very good environment to prepare the following types of applications. Right, sir. What are the various types of applications here we are having there? Provide a very good environment to prepare the following types of applications. We can understand first one is like what there standalone applications. Next one is like what there database applications or web applications. Next one is after that database related applications. Next one is after that distributed applications. Okay, and so on. So many examples are available. All the types of applications are prepared with what their application frameworks, but only web applications are prepared with what their web frameworks. So all of you get my point or not? So this is what exactly the types of the frameworks here what we are having. So all of you getting clarity or not? Next one after that examples for these application frameworks in outside there. As per my view, only one example is available. As per my view, only one example. That example is like what there Spring. Spring framework is what there an application framework. All right, immediately I have a question now. Everybody understand my point here. I have a question now. What exactly my question here? All of you observe carefully. What are the differences between struts, comma, JSF and Spring frameworks? What are the differences between struts, JSF and what next one here Spring frameworks? Even I'm not expecting the complete end-to-end differences, no, but basic level difference, top level differences only here we are going to understand. Why? Because these many frameworks are the examples now for web frameworks and as well as what their application frameworks. So minimum we have to understand the difference. Anyway, as I'm talking about the Spring framework now, I have to show why Spring framework is a great framework when compared with like struts and JSF. Yes, sir. All of you are following or not? But one conclusion here I can give there effectively. What is that conclusion there? Struts and JSF are web frameworks, whereas Spring framework is what their application framework. So by using struts and JSF, we are able to prepare only web applications. But by using Spring framework, we are able to prepare any type of application, all the types of applications. All right, sir. Now here I'm telling there, how, sir, how it is possible there. Simple example, Spring is a layered framework. Spring is what there layered framework. What is the meaning of this layered framework? No, so many modules are available or moduled framework. Spring is what there moduled framework means that number of modules are available inside the Spring framework. What are the various modules are available? Core module. By using core module, we can prepare standalone applications. Spring JDBC module, Spring ORM module, both are used to prepare what their database related applications. Answer my point here. Spring AOP module, Spring J2EE module, both are used to prepare J2EE applications. Spring Web module, Spring Web MVC module, both are used to prepare what their web applications. So number of modules are available inside the Spring now. By using this number of modules, we can prepare different types of applications. That's why the Spring framework is like what their application framework, whereas the struts and JSF are like what their struts and JSF are like what their only web frameworks. That is one difference here we can understand. Yes, sir. All of you get my point or not? Right, sir. That is one. And another point also because I can tell now, struts and JSF are outdated. Struts and JSF are like what they're outdated. But the Spring framework is not there, not outdated. Still, it is available in outside market. Right, sir. One funny conversation I had there, maybe I think so, maybe before Pongal occasion actually, from one of my previous students, almost 10 to 12 years back, he learned Java from me. By the time Spring Framework is in very much a swing in outside. Spring Framework, especially in the Spring Framework, flow of execution, one topic is there. Spring flow, sorry, not Spring, Struts. Struts Framework is in very much swing there by the time. 10 years back, almost all. Struts framework is in very much swing. In a struts, there is a concept like what there starts a flow of execution. By the time, if you go for interview, by the time, interview will ask the very first question. Tell me the struts of flow of execution. If you give that flow of execution, you are getting selected. As a matter of 15 to 20 minutes, we have to explain. No, we are going to explain that very much clearly about the struts framework internal flow. Then if you give the total flow of execution, that's you are eligible to work with what their struts projects. The companies are taking the people in that way. Yes, clear? All right, sir. Then what happened by the time? What I'm telling there, that is the story now. So struts and JSF are outdated, but Spring is what there newer one. Then what is the conversation I had there? One of my previous students, maybe before this Pongal, he inquired about the courses at our office there. Then directly he said to my office people, like what there, I learned struts these frameworks from me. He learned frameworks from me. But now at present, still I'm working with the struts framework. If Nagoor Babu is conducting struts classes, that just give intimation to me, then I won't attend. All right, so then our people are giving intimation there. No, sir, at present, nobody is conducting these classes now. I think in online people might be, we got that inquiry. Then he said to me, if it is possible to conduct one-to-one sessions now, I can pay how much amount he required. I want to pay now. Understand it now? But how it is possible? How it is possible, sir? Means what I'm telling there, even though some technologies and some tools or maybe some frameworks are outdated, but still some companies are having legacy projects, old projects. That projects are using these outdated things. So because of that reason, the developers might be they're trying to learn these courses there, but still, even though the technology is outdated, but still some old projects are using these kind of things. You never believe, you may not believe this particular point. I'm telling you, still some banking projects are using EJBs. EJBs is totally smashed, outdated in outside. Nobody is using the EJBs now. But still some banking projects are using EJBs. For the sake of maintenance point of view, or for the sake of like, again, a redevelopment point of view, some kind of migration point of view, still that people are expecting what they're, that outdated technology still. So they're also be running maybe 5% of time. But remaining 95% of the time, that entire market, software industry is going to be migrated from old technology to new technology. Understand, guys, what I'm telling them? When I worked with one company at Begumpet at very almost 13 to 15 years back, nearly 15 years back, when I worked with one project there, when I worked with one company at Begumpet, actually, I worked there, where the very startup project, what they are given for me is a migration project from AWT and Sphinx to JSF. Already the product is available with the Sphinx, AWT and Sphinx. My work in that project is what there. Product is it's a product based organization actually, not project. My work is there. Just I need to migrate from what there AWT and Sphinx to what there JSF. By the time JSF is very good. But at present, what is the situation now? Now demand is available for what there JSF. But still, maybe somewhere else, one or two companies are using what there this kind of outdated concepts. Because of that reason, again, we are not going to learn this kind of things here. As much as possible, try to learn what their newer concepts only. Then immediately may have one doubt. You may ask one question to me. Sir, at present, Spring Boot microservices are very good. Why don't we learn immediately Spring Boot and microservices? But the point is what they don't think about it. Spring is totally outdated. No, still some companies are using what their Spring Without using Spring Boot and microservices, some companies are using what their Spring. That is reason number one. And reason number two, this is misunderstanding for everybody in outside. Unfortunately, what environment is created in outside now, without knowing Spring framework, you can learn Spring Boot and microservices. People are thinking in this way. No, that is not right. If you want to understand Spring Boot, definitely we should know Spring. We must know Spring framework. Then only it is possible. If you want to learn Spring Boot and microservices, if you want to learn Spring Boot, Spring is mandatory. If you want to learn microservices, Spring Boot is mandatory. Every microservice is nothing but one Spring Boot application, one Spring Boot project. 10 microservices in the sense what there, 10 Spring Boot projects. Not more than that. So it's mandatory. So still Spring is going on in outside market. It's not completely dead. Because of that reason only here we are learning clearly. Right, sir. Anyway, then whatever it may be, the second difference I'm telling to you, struts and JSF are somewhat outdated, whereas Spring framework is not what there, outdated. That is another point here I'm telling to you now. Clear? Fine. Now understand one more point here. As for the noun points I'm telling there, another point is what there. Struts and JSF are MVC based web frameworks. That is, struts and JSF are using only MVC design pattern, only one framework, only one design pattern. That is what there, MVC, and it's a correlated. MVC design pattern and it's a correlated. What is this MVC and its correlated design patterns? No, MVC is a main design pattern. It's a correlated design patterns are what there, front controller design pattern, data transfer object design pattern, data access object design pattern, DAO, DTO, front controller. Am I right or not? And what next one here? No, chain design pattern, process of chain process design patterns. Like this, so many design patterns are available which are related to MVC design pattern. Up to that only the JSF and Springs are putting concentration. But what about the Spring framework? No, Spring framework, in a Spring framework, I already said to you, Spring framework is a moduled or layered framework. Spring framework is what there, layered framework or module framework. Out of all the modules, Spring framework is using MVC up to Spring Web MVC module. Only Spring Web MVC module is using what there, MVC design pattern. But remaining modules are having their own design patterns. Remaining modules are having what there, their own design patterns. Only Spring Web module is using what there, MVC design pattern. Best example, inversion of control or dependency injection. The topic is available now. Spring framework. That is what there, a separate design pattern. Inversion of control or dependency injection. Yes, sir. I'll forget my point or not. Factory design patterns is a very much utilized inside the Spring framework. Factory design pattern. Like this, so many design patterns are available. It's not like on only that MVC design pattern, but the struts and JSF are what there, only one type. What is that one type here? No, that is MVC. But Spring framework is a layered framework where only one layer, web layer, is using what there, MVC design pattern. Remaining modules are using what there, different design patterns. That is another point here. Now, apart from this, another one. Now, try to understand this clearly. Struts and JSF. No. See, observe carefully. Struts and JSF are heavyweight frameworks. Struts and JSF are what their heavyweight frameworks, but whereas a Spring framework is a lightweight framework. Spring framework is what their lightweight framework. Struts and JSF are what their heavyweight frameworks. How, sir? How can we say this point? No. Simple example. A small hello world struts application I want to prepare. Guys, observe carefully. I'm telling you, listen carefully. Struts framework is available, is provided by Apache Software Foundations in the form of 50 number of jar files. Struts framework was provided by the Struts vendor in the form of what there, 15 jar files. Got my point or not? Spring framework is a module framework. No, Spring core module required only 2 to 3 jar files. Spring JDBC module required 3 jar files. That means core and JDBC. AOP, one separate jar file. Web module, 1 or 2 jar files. All together, all modules of Spring framework, max 6 or 7 number of jar files. Okay, right. Listen carefully. If I want to prepare simple hello world struts application, welcome message struts application, all 50 number of jar files must be used in our project. All 50 number of jar files must be loaded in our project. Even though your application is only hello world, welcome message, I want display welcome to struts application. All 50 number of jar files must be used. All 50 number of jar files must be loaded to the memory. But if you go for Spring framework, if you want to display just a hello world information, core module is sufficient. Only core module related jar files must be loaded. Remaining module related jar files are not required to be used. With respect to the core module, only 2 to 3 jar files. With respect to the core module, only what there 2 to 3 jar files. The 2 to 3 jar files are sufficient, not required to load all 6 or 7 number of jar files. Yes, sir. All of you get my point or not? Now tell me which one is a heavyweight and which one is a lightweight here. Which frameworks are heavyweight and which frameworks are lightweight? No, Struts and JSF are what there heavyweight, but whereas application, that means Spring framework is what there lightweight. That is one point here. Then another point here. Try to understand this clearly. All of you know. Everybody observe carefully. Struts and JSF are mainly focusing on presentation part. They're web frameworks. Web in the sense mainly for what their user interaction, presentation part. Struts and JSF are mainly focusing on what their only presentation part. But the Spring framework is able to provide more focus on each and every corner of the enterprise application. It's not on only web part, it's not on only presentation part. It can focus on, it must focus on every corner of the enterprise application. Presentation part is required, web module is available, business logic implementation is required, AOP module and J2EE is required. Understand my point here now? Remote application development is available, J2EE, remoting, application remoting, web services kind of things now. Then apart from this, what next one here apart from this? No, database interaction now, JDBC and ORM modules are available. There also with that Spring framework has to put focus there. But Struts framework is mainly on what there only MVC, that is a web in the sense what there presentation. But the Spring framework is able to provide focus on each and every corner of what there an enterprise application. Yes, sir. All of you are getting clarity or not? All right, next one more point. Just today I'm giving overall view, but anyway then later on I will give that step by step all the points, no, but try to understand each and every point. Next one is Struts framework. Struts and JSF almost both Struts framework, Struts and JSF are more API dependent. Struts and JSF are what there more API dependent. What's the meaning of more API dependent? No? What do you think about this more API dependent? That means for every small action, more and more predefined libraries must be used. More and more predefined libraries are used. So more API dependent. Simple example. In Struts and JSF, especially Struts framework, even not JSF, okay, JSF, no problem. In the case of Struts and JSF, no, we are going to use some Java Bean classes with some predefined library. Java Bean components we are going to use with what there some predefined library. But in the case of Spring framework, we are going to use Java Bean components without a predefined library. That without depending on predefined library, if you prepare any Java Bean class, then that is called as what there POSO class. The classes are what there POSO, POJO, POSO, plain old Java object classes, POSO classes. POSO classes does not extend or implement any predefined library, but normal Java beans can implement or can extend a predefined library. Struts and JSF are using what their normal Java bean components, but Spring framework is using what their POSOs it is using there. POSO in the sense what there a Java bean class which does not use any predefined library, just a class employee variables setters and getters. That's finished. Sir, all of you are getting my point or not? So this is another difference between like what there starts with JSF and what next one can know and Spring framework clearly. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my points or not? Now tell me what are the various differences here we provided here. First one is what there. Now tell me As per our remembering, I'm asking there. What is the first one now? Tell me. Very first one here we understood there. Struts and JSF are outdated, but Spring Framework is what there? Not outdated. Point number one. Second one is what there? Struts and JSF are web frameworks, but whereas the Spring Framework is what there? Application framework. What is the meaning of web framework and application framework? No. Come on. What is this web framework actually? Web framework is able to provide very good environment to design and execute only web applications, whereas the Spring framework is able to provide environment to design and execute any type of application. What are these any type of applications? No, maybe standalone applications, or maybe web applications, or maybe distributed applications, or maybe database related applications. All the types of applications we can prepare with what their application frameworks. All right, so then after that means Spring framework. Understand this clearly. Next one is Struts and JSF are only MVC based frameworks, means that it uses MVC and its correlated design patterns. But application framework like what Spring framework, it uses only inside the Spring framework only web MVC module uses MVC design pattern. Remaining modules are not using MVC design pattern. Remaining modules are having their own set of design patterns. Next one is the Struts and JSF are focusing more on like which layer here? View layer only, presentation part only. But a Spring framework has to put focus on every corner of the enterprise application. Why? Because it's a place for database interaction. It's a place for presentation part. It's a place for J2EE applications. It's a place for everything about our enterprise application. Next one is Struts and JSF are not moduled frameworks, not layered frameworks. But whereas Spring framework is what there? Layered framework or moduled framework. That's it. Then apart from that, what next one here? Apart from this, no. Struts and JSF, Struts and JSF, like what there? What is that another point here I said to you about this differences? No. Heavyweight. Struts and JSF are like what there? Heavyweight. For even a single application, that entire Struts framework has to be loaded. Entire JSF has to be loaded. But Spring framework is what there? Lightweight. Why? Because if you want to work with the core module, only core module related jar files are going to be loaded. Remaining jar files are not required. Alright, so next one. Struts and JSF are more API dependent, but whereas the Spring framework is not more API dependent. Why? Because Struts and JSF are not using POSO classes, whereas Spring framework is using totally what their POSO classes. What's the meaning of this POSO class? No, plain old Java object. That's the abbreviation. But what is this class actually? It's a Java bin class. It does not extend or implement a predefined library. It is a Java bin class. It does not implement or extend what their predefined library. Right, so now this is what exactly the meaning of like what there the differences, max differences can be understood between Struts JSF and Spring framework clearly. So all of you are getting it or not? Right, so just give 2 minutes of time to me. Let me prepare. Anyway, I'll prepare this document maybe tomorrow. But now, meanwhile, I want to prepare like what there URL. Let me prepare this URL here for this. Right, sir. For this folder, I'm going to prepare the URL. Then how to do this? Right, sir. I think so. Okay, maybe the link is ready. Right, sir. Let me check this. Right, sir. Now it's coming there. The folder share I given. Okay, then we can collect this link. Take this link for online people. I'm going to share this link in questions box. https://tinyurl.com spring 8:30 a.m. notes. Just remember this spring 8:30 a.m. note. That's enough. Automatically we can get it. Okay. Clear? Right, sir. In questions box, I shared this link to everybody. Now try to take that. Spring is outdated, sir. Spring Boot come right check. Spring Boot came. Yes, exactly. I said you the same point here. Spring Boot and microservice are having very good demand, no doubt for that. But still, some companies are using only Spring without Spring Boot and microservices. But gradually, they are migrating from Spring to Spring Boot microservices. But still, some companies are stick with what their Spring framework. That's the point I'm telling there. But another thing is what there to learn Spring Boot microservices, we must understand clearly the Spring framework. That's the one point here. Then, so are we are going to learn all modules of Spring framework? Why not? The same thing I'm telling to you. Almost all 6 to 7 modules are available inside the Spring framework. All modules we are going to learn. After that only, I'll start what there Spring Boot. Everybody understand my point clearly? No? Right side. That's all, guys. Now already I given that link to you, so we can watch that. We can view this content there, whatever the content I'm preparing. Then tomorrow I'll prepare answer for this question. Then afterwards we will start directly what their Spring history, how the Spring is available, what exactly the points about the Spring, from where we have to get the Spring. Then some kind of history details I will provide. Then after that, modules, how many modules are available, how many versions of Spring is available, at each and every version, how many modules are available. This many things here we are going to understand, guys. That's clear, right? So that's all for today. I'll meet on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll see the remaining content. Thank you. And guys, and those who are not receiving videos there, just send a request mail to our office there, then our office people will give direction, or else maybe you can understand one point here. Shiva number చెప్పది మన class ఉంది. Guys, just I will give one more number. To this number just send your pay slip, then our people will give access to you immediately. 7 7 3 86 09 56 00. Yeah, guys, then and send your pay slips to this number. Then our people will give videos access to you. Okay. Yeah. The purchasing. Then please check this. Yeah, WhatsApp only. Send your pay slips to through WhatsApp to this number. Then our people immediately will give response to you regarding that. Yeah, and WhatsApp only. Yeah. Jayant. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on tomorrow.